What up, Long Beach? Happy holidays, everybody. This is the last episode of Long Beach Sports Talk for the calendar year of 2013, and the best local sports coverage is brought to you by the Press-Telegram and Gazette newspapers, and it is sponsored by Naples Rib Company, and it features 3 men and a baby who are in desperate need of a holiday sabbatical. I am co-sports editor JJ Fiddler. To my right,
Co-sports editor Mike Gardabasio holding Vincent, the sports baby Gardabasio, and you are right, we are limping right along to my right.
Tyler Hendrickson, a.k.a. Hen Dog, a.k.a. Hendeces. Trunk hit hard like Kimbo Slice. And you're right, JJ, the holiday season is upon us. I'm kind of sad that this is the last show. It's been a great year of LBST.
Dude, it has been a great year. That's what we say at times like this. We say it every year. It's been a great year. And I wish there was a way for me to explain to you that, like, we kind of, blow the smoke a little bit, but that's not the case. Every December, we look back and go, oh, and remember, and the discussion of great moments of the season turns into like a half hour of, oh yeah, I forgot that happened.
I'm starting to develop to notice a pattern developing that perhaps we should just expect that we have good jobs in a good city and we're happy people.
Does anything stick out to you that people might not think of? Like there's been so many games. Like I think of the Milliken boys basketball team. Nobody's going to remember the 2013 Milliken boys basketball team. They won some playoff games or whatever, but the reaction from that student body to the first-year head coach Chris Francis' style, the way they played, how hard they played, like that was thrilling to me. Nobody else but me will probably remember that.
It was revolutionary, and the revolution will be on YouTube because there was video of it. It will not be televised, but it will be on YouTube, and that it just took over that gym. It was just an event in the city every time Milliken had a home game.
It did. It will be the defining moments for me for 2013 basketball.
Well, and speaking of crowds, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this is more recent from back in the year, but that girls volleyball game between Orange Lutheran and Los Al that I was at, I mean, the environment for it to be in a high school gym and have it be that noisy, that organized with the student sections, I mean, it just felt like you were at an international soccer match or something. It was so loud and everybody was so tuned up. I've never been in a high school atmosphere quite like that. That was otherworldly at Orange Lutheran this season. That was crazy.
Well, speaking of international competition, we had the World Series of Volleyball in Long Beach this summer as well. So Long Beach was back in the World Volleyball discussion for the first time in a long time. Actually, it was funny, kind of a roundabout way to get into that event. I realized that one of the first events in the summer of 2008 that I covered when we were first starting to get this local coverage thing going was the AVP event featuring Missy May Traynor and Carrie Walsh. And then the first return is 5 years later, the summer we take the Press-Telegram job, and it's Carrie Walsh's return to the sand. It was crazy.
Yeah, the cycles of sports have definitely been very obvious this year. I would say, obviously, my overwhelming memory, which I guess is a sports memory since he's a sports baby, was Vincent being born, right?
Amen.
Is that a sports memory?
Absolutely.
But really, the whole thing, there's so many stories, I really just tell to friends that people don't necessarily know, but, that we knew, my wife and I knew that she was pregnant through all of last fall's football season. So the three of us really enjoyed this, and as it would turn out, it was really the last time the three of us would get to cover a football game together, like week after week after week. Because now that we have the Press-Telegram job, we cover so many more teams. But to just get to go through that whole playoff ride during the football playoffs, knowing, oh man, we got a baby on the way, I'm out here working with all my friends, this is just awesome. And then, right after Vincent was born, people don't necessarily know this, that's when you and I started negotiating for whether or not we were going to the Long Beach Register or
the same week.
Right, it was literally, he was still in the hospital. So it was certainly a wild ride, and he had a very sports-erific entree into the world, which I guess was kind of inevitable hanging out with guys like us. But
yeah, that tends to just happen. We always talk about championships at a time like this. Oh, yeah. And actually, there's going to be a lot of championships that are going to end up in our year of 2013 top 10 plays of Long Beach. Get on Twitter right now, hashtag LB Top 10, and tell us what your favorite play or even favorite championship was from the year 2013.
And should people not submit stuff to us, because we have a number of schools we covered that we were not filming during last winter and spring. So if you've got like
an amazing play,
an incredible goal or tackle or home run or something that obviously we just weren't out there with videos covering, a lot of these schools outside of the Moore League, I mean, hit us up because we'll certainly take a look at that.
Chilena? Chilena's got to be on there.
Chilena!
Yeah, I mean,
You know what? I didn't tell you guys, but this is a funny sports moment. I went to that Milliken season opener 2 weeks ago, I think, against North Torrance. And I swear to God, I'm walking out on the field, and one kid says, "Hey, Gazettes, you're awesome." And I was like, "All right, hey, thanks, man. We really appreciate that." And then as I'm getting onto the grass, like 6 kids before the game started just started chanting Chilena. Because it's just, the Milliken soccer fans are so spoiled. It's like, if it's not a Chilena, don't even score it.
Don't even bother. Are there any other playoff games that stick out for you guys?
No doubt. There was one at Poly against Etowanda. So a lot of talent on the floor, the boys basketball game. And packed gym. I mean, they were turning people away.
The semifinal game, I think.
I believe so, yeah. And they were turning people away. It was standing room only. It ended up going to overtime because Rashawn Prince knocked down probably shot of the year, coming down, pull up 3 in transition, drained it. The place goes absolutely nuts. I've never seen that kid so fired up, and that was an iconic moment from an iconic career at Long Beach Poly in Rashawn Prince. That's one of the moments that people will talk about in 10, 15 years, how good that kid was at Poly. It's like, oh, you remember that shot he hit right before the buzzer against Etowanda to send it to overtime? Obviously didn't end well for the Rabbits because Etowanda got that win, but for that moment, it was pandemonium, and that was one of the best shots we've seen. Just absolutely clutch. The only 3 that they made the entire game.
Yeah, well, and I actually dropped my phone while I was trying to tweet because I was just, it's tight quarters there, and I was essentially getting knocked around like a mosh pit while I was trying to do my job. It was kind of funny. I've got 2 similar stories, actually, both from Poly, about kids that you could sort of feel the future stretching out in front of them. One was Juju Smith this year. I don't remember if I've even told you guys this story, but he went out with that injury after the Cabrillo game. So the next week he didn't play, and so you expect to see a kid. He's bummed out. He's not playing. It's a senior year. It's the Morley game, so he probably could have done something cool, And what he was doing after the game was he was playing 3 flies up with like everyone's little brother and sister. He was just on the track at Vets, and like 40 yards downfield, there was probably 15 to 20 kids just waiting for him to throw the ball because they wanted to catch the ball from Juju. And I appreciated that he was taking the time to do that for them. I thought that was really cool. But then also, we all have gotten to see Ariana Washington run over the last 2 years. And it may be the eeriest, coolest moment that I've covered right before she ran in the 100 state championship, that just everything stopped. Everyone in the stadium stopped talking. Everyone in the press box, and that's really an accomplishment to get everyone in the press box to shut up.
Including me.
No one was drinking water. No one was eating their cookie. Everyone just stopped in mid-sentence or mid-step and just watched her go and win another CIF state championship.
People stopped blinking.
It was cool. It was just that feeling of this person's bigger than this event already. And it was only her junior season is what kind of excites me about that. We still get another year of that kind of action.
But it's been special. That kind of leads me into predictions for 2014. Give me one. You got one solid prediction for 2014.
I'm not having another kid, so if I'm going with a repeat one, I'm gonna have to go with at least not that I'm aware of at the moment. Ariana Washington, I think I'd have to say, is sort of a similar thing. I mean, she and that 4x100 team are going to potentially do some really special things this year.
Is somebody going to be asking them about a world record by the end of 2014?
It's certainly a national record. You have to say they're in contention for it, and I know that the track world knows those things. So they're going to walk onto every track they're on this year with those kind of expectations. We haven't seen that kind of superstardom level attention on a high school team we've covered in quite a while. So yeah. I'm excited about it. I think that's going to be a really fun season.
Multiple state championships in basketball we're going to be covering.
Ooh, interesting.
So we got a lot of teams. What do you guys think? Like, I'll say 3. I'll say we'll get 3 state championships.
Sacramento to get ready for us?
I'll get all the way ready. I mean, between all the schools we cover all the different levels, I'm setting the bar high. Long Beach area. So I want 3 state championships from the basketballs.
3?
Okay.
Let's get it.
Okay, I've got 2. We got to get the fall in here. Brett Peabody's Long Beach City Vikings are going to surprise some people in 2014.
Are they going to win their conference? That's a tough conference.
I think they're going to win their conference.
I don't want to go as far as to say what they're going to win and what they're not going to do, but I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think people are going to be talking about.
Train.
I think people are going to be talking about LBCC football for the first time in a long time. For the right reasons, coming up here in 2014.
You're saying red and black, we are back?
I like it. I like the direction in which they're going. I also want to go out on a limb here, and this is a big one. Dual CIF soccer championships. Milliken Ram boys, Wilson Bruin girls.
Ooh. Love that.
Love it, dude. Both of those teams have won championships in the last 3 years. They just haven't done it in the same year. Mm-hmm. They are bringing back a solid group at Wilson, and they have got some exciting young talent at Milliken.
You know what, JJ? If you extend that map a little bit, we've got plenty of teams that could be playing for championships right there. So
we are boys ranked number 1. Downey's girls ranked number 1 in their division.
So you almost have to think we're going to get dual championships, right? The odds are pretty good. Not necessarily both Long Beach Moore League.
The Moore League 1-2 punch would be pretty cool.
But that would be pretty great for the Moore League specifically. We'll be busy.
Both of those two schools that JJ just mentioned, Wilson girls and Milliken boys, started off in the top 10 in the Student Sports Fab 50 national rankings.
Yep.
Big time.
And a lot of that has to do with just name recognition. They've got that.
Over under 0.5 flying jump kicks in 2014.
I'm going to say the under.
I'm going to go under.
Because in every other year but 2013, you would have won that bet.
I'm going to be honest with you, though. I'm on the sidelines quite a bit. I'm pretty sure I could talk a kid or two into doing a flying jump kick.
Oh, you're going to collude on us?
The coaches are going to hate me for it, and the refs might not like it and think it's cute, but I don't know. Flying jump kick?
Your bosses might not be thrilled with that either.
Listen, bro, I took a flying jump kick from a pretty strong baby, and I recovered pretty quickly, so y'all can get over it.
Hey, you should leave us your predictions for 2014 as well as your memories from 2013 at our Twitter account, at PT Gazette Sports. That's just that one S there in the middle. And we might just do a story about it here closer to the end of the year, talking about what people are looking forward to in 2014. You should also look forward to what we mentioned earlier, the top 10 plays of 2013, which will be on both websites coming up here closer to New Year's Day. We have got a big show, Long Beach Sports Talk, coming at you right now. Happy holidays, everybody. Stick with us. Ready, roll 'em.
Oh, my wonton Wednesday. I know what I'm doing for lunch. Ooh. About our surprise.
Writing history as they play. It's what the St. John Bosco Braves have been doing all season long, and they finished it undefeated, taking down Mater Dei for the second time this year, winning the Pac-5 football championship, the first football championship in school history. Head coach Jason Negro and that program have just skyrocketed to the top of the Trinity League, taking down a team like Mater Dei that basically set the standard for Trinity League football and winning championships in that league and in the Pac-5 division. Just apropos that the Braves knocked the Monarchs off twice this season in dominant fashion.
Well, their
to
fans
pick the plaque up.
I mean, Bosco's fans hate Mater Dei too.
Does any fan base not named the Monarch fan base like Mater Dei?
Not that I've met.
Not that I've seen. Not that I've run into.
I don't know.
No comment. But I think they like it that way. I mean, it's worth noting. I don't think that they're crying too much about popularity.
No.
Let's think about this for a second. Obviously, all the credit goes to Bosco, and they dominated that game. But think about Mater Dei for just a quick second. They make it to the championship game 2 years in a row and just get undressed at Angel Stadium, essentially. I mean, and talk about playing teams coming from two different directions. Because last year's game, it was like, is Poly really all the way back? Like, what? How did they get to this point? You know, they were 1-3. Did they make it all the way back? Whereas Bosco has just been like, can anyone ever knock this team off? How are they that good? And then both times you get just blown out by two pretty different teams, because Poly and Bosco.
In terms of their storyline, but certainly the combination of athleticism
and program
physicality up.
The difference of the programs.
The difference in the programs,
But it is kind of interesting. You look at this Bosco team; it looks a lot like the late '90s Poly teams. I mean, it's built very similarly. It's like we're gonna kill you with speed on the outside, but you also can't come through the middle against us because we're also bigger and stronger and tougher than you.
Well, it felt a lot different than that championship game between Poly and Mater Dei. I'll tell you that much. When I was there walking in, it just kind of felt uneasy. I actually wrote a column about it in the Gazettes.
Great column.
Thank you. Where I was just kind of talking about how this private v public school thing has really reached a tipping point at this point, because you've got a Trinity League rival rematch in the title game, and it's a lot easier to see that becoming the norm than, two public schools going at it for the Pac-5 title at Big A.
I mean, Poly's the only. If it weren't for Poly, you almost wonder if there wouldn't have been more pressure to make this an all-private division, because Poly's the only public school to win it in the last 10 years.
Yep, and who was the last public school? I think it was Edison was the last public school to make it, and that was, in 2010? But I'm wondering, and I wondered at the end of that column, is like, should public schools, once they get done rooting for their team, start rooting for the other private schools to get the championship so that, like, 5 years from now, we're looking at 10 finalists in the Pac-5 division, all of which are private schools?
Well, I think that's a fair point because there's not going to be a separation between public and private if public schools continue to do well enough. Poly obviously has been the team that's been winning. And
do well enough or tread water?
I guess tread water. You look at Mission Viejo; they went undefeated, and yet they lost to Mater Dei in the second round.
Well, yeah,
but Mission Viejo is not a normal public school.
But Mission's a great example of a public school that there are differences between public and private because Mission was a phenomenal lower division program,
yes.
And Bob Johnson considered one of the great coaches, a guru, all this stuff. They come up to Division I, and it's been nada.
Has not gone well.
It hasn't. So that's sort of been interesting to me. I mean, there just is a difference. It's essentially the tanking argument in the NBA. It's like, do you want things to just get so bad that they have to get better, or do you just want something to happen? Because it is. And actually, one of the other schools in the Moore League that we cover a few years ago, the coach said, Poly really does a disservice to the other public schools because if it wasn't for Poly and it was only private schools winning championships, something would just have to be addressed.
Well, it's been Poly, and then the Sunset League teams have been able to get in and do well. LaSalle, Edison, those teams have been able to get into some championship games.
But they were so non-competitive that they got moved down to that division.
Right. So now it's really left with just the Moore League, and the Moore League has only been
It's the Moore League and the South Coast League, and that's it, really.
Right, and it's basically Poly and Mission. Mission has not been able to really get out of the quarterfinals recently, and Poly obviously won the championship and made the semis this year, but outside of that, it's really just private school dominance, and Bosco was very, very dominant this year. Haven't really been tested, which is crazy.
No, and are they going to be tested here in these state bowl games? You win the Pac-5, you get into that open. Yeah, so they take on Corona Centennial Saturday at Cerritos College. That is the regional to then get to the final state bowl game where they will very likely see the De La Salle Spartans. And if they win those two games, Mike, I know you looked at it. We were just looking at the rankings. There's a lot of high school football rankings, as you may imagine. And right now, it looks like if Bosco's able to win out and a couple things go the way we think they're going to go in Texas and in Florida, that Bosco could have the inside track to a national championship.
Well, I'd even go so far as to say if they win the next two games, they'll be able to justifiably call themselves national championships.
At least in computer rankings.
Well, because they'd have the computer rankings from probably the two biggest ones, which would be USA Today and Max Preps. And on top of that, their lead in those computer rankings is enormous because of the strength of schedule they play. But they'll have to beat basically the country's best offense this week, and then De La Salle, the state's most dominant team, next week. So they will be tested.
No doubt. And I think, honestly, that game against Corona Centennial, they are going to score so many points. Because Corona Centennial's defense, they really give it up.
They gave up 50-something points to a St. Bonaventure team that Poly just smothered.
And I honestly, the way the Bosco defense is playing right now, as great as the Corona Centennial offense is, and that system has always been, it's going to be difficult for them to score. I just don't know if Bosco's touchable right now.
When
we saw Corona Centennial when they played Poly, Mike and I were down there covering that game, and that offense definitely does have some explosiveness, but have they improved from that point to be able to contend with Bosco, who looks like the best defense in the state? I don't know.
They feel that they do. I mean, because of how complicated that spread offense is, they feel that they have legitimately gotten much, much better in that time. So I guess we are going to find out.
It always comes down to the other matchup, though, right? Highly touted offense versus highly touted defense. That team's defense versus that other team's offense is usually the way that thing breaks down, and I will take Bosco's offense against Corona Centennial's defense any day of the week.
Without question, markedly better. The Bosco offense compared to that Centennial defense.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like they gave up that many points to St. Bonaventure,
Bruh.
And Bosco's offense is so much better than St. Bonaventure.
They are going to eat.
So, full coverage of that game on Saturday night at Cerritos College, 7:30 kick, and then if they win, Bosco will continue on to go to StubHub Center the weekend after that to take on probably De La Salle in the state bowl game.
From the frivolous lawsuit file here at Pro Basketball Talk, a Clippers fan is suing the team for $5 million, claiming they are spamming his phone with unwanted texts. This is from TMZ. The guy behind the lawsuit is Ari Friedman, who claims he went to a game at Staples Center and participated in one of those arena games where you send a text message to the team that gets posted on the stadium scoreboard. In a lawsuit obtained by TMZ Sports, Ari claims the team assured fans they would not share cell phone information or send return text messages, which I've done those. That is not true. They send you an immediate auto reply and say, you send yes if you are signing up for this email
Welcome
account.
to the Terror Dome.
Yeah, but Ari claims the clips broke that promise. After the game, Ari says he got hit with text message spam, which traced back to the Clippers. He's pissed because incoming text messages can cost several cents in charges. What is the only logical reaction? Sue for $5 million.
Or get a new cell phone plan.
Hashtag clip show. In the second installment of Vincent the Sports Baby reenacting awesome plays in the area, taking on maybe my most challenging role of my career as modern-day defenders, Vincent the Sports Baby will be St. John Bosco running back Sean McGrew, similarly small but mighty, and he's going to show you how tough McGrew was to tackle in that Pac-5 championship game. Here we go. Long Beach State Hoops in the building. Now, since we're not going to be around next week for shows, we want to let you know the schedule the rest of the way for Long Beach State women and men. The women in the Pyramid Friday night taking on undefeated 9-0 San Diego. Tough game for them. Then they'll be playing Tuesday, same time, 7 p.m. Against Miami, Ohio. The men have a big game next week, Thursday at 7:30 against USC. A big test there, and former Poly Jackrabbit Rashawn Prince is going to be back in the city balling out for those Trojans.
All of that non-conference play obviously leading to conference play. Big West starting in early January. Usually it starts in December, but it's pushed back a little bit. So when we come back from our holiday sabbatical, we'll actually be able to wrap up both non-conference schedules for the women and the men before they start the Big West.
Big West play pushed back like LeBron's headband for some reason.
That's it. That's all. There ain't no more. Another episode of Long Beach Sports Talk in the books. Big plans for the holidays, boys, or just kicking your feet up and actually taking the sabbatical like we said?
I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to hope that my baby does the same thing.
Good plan.
I might not even talk to her. My mom's in town. I might not even talk to her.
Good plan. Tyler?
I'm going to Nap Town. Not literally, I'm just taking naps.
I gotta see the snow, man. It's too cold around here for me not to see snow. I have to get the payoff for wearing the big jacket. You know what I mean?
Here's a good tip. Buy a television. Then you'll see some snow.
For everybody involved in the Press Telegram and the Gazette, and for everybody in Long Beach,
the fireplace log too.
thank you for being so awesome that it makes it so easy for us to look back on a year and just be like, yeah, it was pretty great. For Mike, for Tyler, for Vincent, for JJ, for everybody else at the Press Telegram and the Gazettes, thank you for everything. We will see you in 2014, y'all. Take care. Oh, I thought he was biting on your finger. Test question, which one was Tyler and which one was Vincent?
You can't tell, because I'm a caliendo.